Why women stay in contact with men they never plan to date. There is a situation a lot of men go through, but very few ever truly understand. You meet a woman. At first, everything feels normal. Maybe you started talking casually. Maybe you met online. Maybe it was through friends. It doesn't even matter how it started. What matters is what happens next. The communication continues. She replies your messages. Sometimes she replies quickly. Sometimes she adds extra energy. Sometimes she even starts conversations herself. It feels like something is building. It feels like interest. It feels like momentum. So naturally, you start paying more attention. You invest more time. You become more emotionally involved. You start thinking, maybe this is going somewhere. But weeks turn into months, and something strange happens. Nothing changes. No direction. No clarity. Just the same cycle of talking, replying, and repeating. And that is where confusion begins. Because in your mind, consistent contact means interest. But in reality, consistent contact does not always mean intention. Some people stay in contact with you without ever planning to move forward with you. And if you don't understand why, you can stay stuck for a very long time in something that is going nowhere. So let's break it down in a deeper and clearer way. 1. She is in your life because it feels easy, not because it has direction. One of the biggest reasons is simplicity. Talking to you feels easy. There is no pressure, no expectations, no emotional risk, no commitment required, just conversation. And human beings naturally stay in situations that feel easy. If something gives comfort without stress, most people don't rush to change it. So she continues talking to you, not because she is planning a relationship, but because the situation doesn't require her to decide anything. It feels like a safe space where she can interact freely without consequences. And when something is this easy, it often stays exactly the same for a long time, because nothing is pushing it forward. 2. You became part of her normal routine. Another important reason is habit. People underestimate how powerful habit is in communication. When someone talks to you often enough, you become part of their routine. Just like checking social media, just like replying to friends, just like scrolling at night. You become something she does without thinking deeply about it. Not a decision, not a priority, just a habit. So she replies when she feels like it. She engages when she is free. She checks in when she remembers. Not because she is building something, but because you are already part of her daily pattern. And breaking patterns is something people rarely do unless there is a strong reason. 3. You are providing emotional comfort without real direction. This is where many men unknowingly stay stuck. You are not just talking. You are comforting. You are listening. You are supporting. You are making her feel understood. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. But emotional comfort alone does not create romantic direction. It creates familiarity. It creates trust. It creates connection, but not necessarily commitment. So she can feel good talking to you without ever deciding to take things further. Because nothing in the interaction is forcing her to move from comfort into decision. So she stays where things are easiest. 4. She likes having access without making a choice. This is a very important dynamic. Some people like access. They like knowing someone is there. They like knowing they can talk to you whenever they want. They like the availability, but they don't necessarily want the responsibility of choosing you. Because choosing creates expectations. Expectations create pressure. Pressure creates accountability. So instead of making a decision, she keeps things open. No label, no direction, no clarity, just access. She can talk to you when she wants, step back when she wants, return when she wants, and everything still feels normal because nothing has been defined. And when nothing is defined, nothing feels wrong. 5. You never created a moment that forced clarity. A lot of men stay stuck because the situation never reaches a decision point. Everything remains comfortable. Everything remains familiar. Nothing forces change. There is no moment where she has to decide, yes, I want this to move forward, or no, I don't. So instead, the situation stays in neutral. And neutral can last a very long time if nobody changes the direction. So she keeps talking, not because she chose you, but because she was never required to choose at all. 6. She is emotionally connected, but not romantically committed. This is where things become very confusing for men, because emotional connection can feel like progress. You feel close. You feel understood. You feel bonded. But emotional connection is not the same as romantic selection. Someone can enjoy your presence emotionally without ever seeing you as a partner. So she continues contact because the emotional side feels good. But nothing moves forward romantically because that part was never activated. And this is where many men misinterpret signals. They confuse emotional openness with romantic intention. And that confusion leads to waiting. And waiting leads to stagnation. 7. You are a low-risk person to keep around. Another hidden reason is risk. Keeping you in her life does not cost her anything. There is no commitment, no responsibility, no pressure to define anything. So from her perspective, there is no downside to staying in contact. She can engage when she wants, disappear when she wants, return when she wants, and everything still remains stable. So she keeps you there because it is easier than removing you. And when something is easy to maintain, people rarely change it. 8. You are in the in-between zone. This is the most confusing place to be. Not rejected, not chosen, not fully inside, not fully outside, just in between. A possibility, a maybe, a we'll see. And in this zone, the mind creates hope. You start analyzing messages. You start reading meanings into small things. You start waiting for changes because nothing is clearly defined. But here is the truth. A possibility is not a relationship. It is just uncertainty with interaction. And uncertainty can last a very long time if you stay inside it. 9. Time always reveals intention. This is one of the most important truths. If someone is serious, over time things move forward. The connection deepens. The direction becomes clearer. The actions change. But if time passes and nothing changes, that itself is information. Because intention always shows itself through movement, not just communication. So if months pass and the situation is still exactly the same, you're not in progress. You are in repetition. Why men stay stuck in this dynamic? It usually comes down to hope. Hope makes you ignore patterns. Hope makes you interpret silence as potential. Hope makes you believe something will change soon. So you stay. You wait. You invest, even when nothing is moving, because the idea of what it could become feels stronger than what it actually is. What you should actually learn from this. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It is about awareness, because awareness changes your decisions. When you understand that contact is not the same as commitment, you stop overvaluing simple interaction. You start focusing on direction, not availability, not replies, not attention, but actual movement, because real connection always grows. It does not stay in the same place for too long. If there is one thing to remember from this video, it is simple. Just because someone stays in contact with you does not mean they are planning a future with you. Some people stay because it is easy. Some stay because it is comfortable. Some stay because it costs them nothing. And some stay because they have not made a decision at all. So don't confuse communication with commitment. Don't confuse presence with progress. And don't confuse attention with intention. Because once you stop doing that, you finally start seeing your relationships for what they really are. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.